Scottish backsword. They call it basket hilt backsword.
What's nice about this particular, with the bayonet, what's nice is we have the soldier's name, we have his initials, and we have the family crest.
Now we're getting ready to celebrate America 250, and the Van Allen home is very special.
This helps with making a fire, right? You want to, the bellows get the fire going better.
Oakland TV is made possible by the generous support of our sponsors. Chopper Russo, Team Remax Select, Oakland's top team since 2013. The J. Moore Connection Incorporated, reliable professional IT services and solutions for your home and business for over 3 decades. The J. Moore Connection Incorporated, jmore.com. Mark Albala, Ryan Swartfager, proud Oakland resident since 1998, has been a proud member of the Oakland Communications Commission and its chairman since 2018. Thank you to the volunteers who make all of our programming possible, bringing transparency, entertainment, and information to the citizens of Oakland. William Sisti, the Rampo Valley Knights of Columbus Council 5846 was founded in 1966 and our current home of Oakland, New Jersey. Through the years, the council has worked closely with the parish and our community to provide funds for various charitable projects. Tired of spending hours planning your vacation only to end up with a trip that feels ordinary? What if your dream adventure was just one click away? At Roving Adventures Dream Vacations, we believe your precious time off should be spent making memories. We specialize in crafting extraordinary journeys. Whether you're dreaming of a majestic cruise, an exhilarating safari, a challenging hike, or a deep dive into a new culture, we handle every single detail. RovingAdventures.com. And with support from viewers like you, thank you. The following program is brought to you by the volunteers of the Oakland Television Committee and the Oakland Communications Commission.
Make ready. Reset. Fire.
Well, the theme to our event today is called March Forward, so it has a military-style theme. In the parlor, we have Patrick Curran, member Patrick Curran's swords. He has got quite a collection from all over the world and all over time.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be Excalibur, the sword in the stone. So this is what knights used, and this is what they call a two-handed sword. So that's a two-handed knight sword. And then you had what they called a hand and a half knight sword. And a one-handed sword. Okay. And this is Spanish, another one-handed sword. All right, going down through history a little more. Here we got Vikings. This is a Viking sword. This is a repro. So all these are all repros up to a certain point. I'll let you know. Of course, this is the samurai. Everyone knows about the samurai sword. This ruled Japan for 1,000 years.
I love katanas.
Okay. There you go. And then we have, this is a reproduction of a Revolutionary War, like NCO sword with the English crown on it. This is a reproduction of a Scottish back sword, what they call the basket hilt back sword.
Wow.
And they had this inside to protect your hand. And if you look on the table over here, we have another one. This is an original back sword.
Where's the sharpest one?
The sharpest one? Well, let me tell you about sharpness in swords. Not all swords were sharp. If you hit somebody with a sharp sword, it makes a sharp cut. And they can sew it up and it heals very well. If you hit somebody with a dull sword, it crushes the skin, causes something called a contusion, which is like a smushing of the flesh instead of cutting, which makes a lot more damage. And then underneath that is what? Bones. Bones break, skin contusions and things like that. That's what the sword actually did more damage that way. Knight swords, they're fighting against armor. This sword was to beat the guy down like a baseball bat, and then once he's on the ground, you could stab him through the armor. Okay, so this is an original Scottish basket hilt sword with the scabbard to hang over the shoulder in the back. So I'll hang this here for now. And coming across, we're coming into the Civil War. This is a Civil War 1864 NCO sword, non-commissioned officer's sword. And this is an original made by Ames, 1864.
What's that worth about?
I don't know. I haven't looked it up for price. I'm not trying to sell them. This was very common in the Civil War as well. They called this an artillery short sword. This particular one was made in France. Paris, France, as a matter of fact. So this was purchased from France, either by the Confederates or the U.S., the North, during the Civil War, and used. And this was carried. Each artillery unit had at least one of these. One man carried that. This is Napoleonic, I believe, and what they called French frontiers troops. So, funny enough, this is a machete. Used it for chopping through the woods. They're frontiers troops. Okay. This is a reproduction of a Confederate saber. This would have been more of an officer's saber, a little more decorative. Engraved blade, the CSA. And we come into these two swords, which are practically identical, made by two different makers, but the same pattern sword. And this one, I believe, is Spanish War. These are the longest sabers that I have. So this is a saber. This would have been horse, carried on by a soldier on horse. And sabers were curved. Does anyone know why they're curved? You're riding a horse and you're swinging this thing and you hit somebody with a straight sword, it's going to be like, it's going to hit them straight and it's going to stay there. And it's going to come right out of your hand. So this would allow it to kind of come off of the person or the target, I should say, as you hit them. It would deflect away. So it would do its damage and deflect off. So this one, Spanish American. And this is the same pattern sword, which has all the marks from the armory on it. And where they had a number on it, they X'd it out, put the new number as it's returned to the armory, and so forth. And these are all sabers. This right here is another one. This is made by Ames Manufacturing. Beautiful, with its engraved blade. More of definitely an officer's type of sword with all of the bronze fittings. Now we're coming into some newer stuff a little bit. So here we have, this is another saber, one of my favorites. Very big blade, very heavy, but sold in Germany. Nice balance. So a lot of times,
What year is that one?
this one I'm not sure. I have to look up a little more about it. It's made in Germany, and it was definitely a soldier's sword. So you can see the scabbard, how it's beat up and stuff. This thing was carried around. This I got from a lady who said her son brought it back from Vietnam. So I believe it came from Cambodia. And I'm looking into more information on that one. I have another one like it, but shorter. This, I didn't pay that much. That says 1833 Dragoon Officer's Saber. We looked into it a little bit, and it might be a map maker's sword. Very shiny, beautiful polished blade. But this had a rough life. As you can see, the scabbard was badly treated. This was rescued from a junkyard by an antique dealer who I got it from. This is, what's one of the fiercest cavalries you ever heard of? Nobody knows? Okay, in Russia, the Cossacks. Okay, this is a Russian Cossack saber from from World War II. So it has all of the Soviet markings on it here, and this is an original Russian Cossack saber. And on the scabbard is the bayonet for the Mosin Nagant rifle. So this had a dual purpose. You had your saber and your rifle bayonet. As you go down through history, now we have guns. Okay, so swords were before guns. So now you have guns coming in, and you have, as he's explained to you over here, what's called a bayonet on the end of a gun. And this is a bayonet. So this one is about from 1860s, and this would go on the front of the rifle. But it also served as a sword. So you had a short sword or bayonet in a dual purpose item. So there's two of them. This came in a metal scabbard. So imagine carrying this around, and you got to carry this metal scabbard. And that was the bayonet that went on the end of your gun. At the same time, another pattern of bayonet. This was a straight one with a more triangular type of blade. So similar, but these were like sword bayonets. So at this time, so here's the beginning of rifles and guns, and you had long bayonets because what type of warfare you're starting in up to World War I, trench warfare. So they're coming over the trench, you want a long bayonet reaching up, and before that you have cavalry, so you have men on swords. So you want that extra length, and that's why the bayonets were much longer. As you come into World War II, the bayonets got shorter, more like a knife. Over here we got some more stuff. This is what they called a cutlass. So this would have been used on a ship. So sailors had something similar to a saber, but shorter and fatter. A cutlass. This guy, some of you may recognize, this is a modern Marine sword. So this is the U.S. Marine sword that they still use as their parade and dress sword. These others, I don't know everything about this, but this may be World War I German, Imperial German, with the beautiful writing on it. Does anybody speak German? Need someone to interpret that. Some other sabers. This is the oldest one. This in relic condition. Obviously, it's in terrible shape. I have a book at home that says antiques. You go through and it has like a picture of one of each antique thing, whatever. And there's only one sword in the whole book, and it was this sword. And explains this sword was from 1790 to 1815. This sword was in use. So for us, it would have been the War of 1812. beautifully. If you look closely at how it was made, I mean, some of it's broken away here, so part of the relic condition. This thing may have been stuck in the ground somewhere for a long time. And in the window here, they have different things carved. So the book explained even. So there's a fish in here. There was different types of things carved in the window. But this right here is the oldest one that I have, 1790 to 1815. So that's well over 200. This one I don't know a lot about yet. Another English saber. And any questions?
And one of the New Jersey Herds Brigade reenactors named Paul Dahl, who is a frequent exhibitor here at the Van Allen House, has a Revolutionary War gun collection.
Hi, my first name is Paul. Last name is Dahl. Been a reenactor since 1980, and this is part of my collection I bring out for the public to see and see what things were like at the time when George Washington and his army was involved in the American Revolution, fighting for our independence from the British Empire, King George III. What we have here today, this is a 1777. Come on, folks, you can. Okay, this is 1777 French Charleville. What's nice about this particular, with the bayonet, what's nice is we have the soldier's name, we have his initials, and we have the family crest. The second item we have here is a Massachusetts musket that a farmer had put together. For the simple reason, we were all farmers back then. So the only problem with that, you couldn't use a bayonet on the rifle. This is a committee of safety. This is pre-Rev War, and it's got the U.S. on the lock. If you know, it's a little bit shorter than all the other ones, so this soldier would have been on a horse. This one here is the state of New Jersey. This is for the Sussex County Militia. There were about 16,000 of them. I have his initials, and I have the state of New Jersey that's marked on the barrel. And the last but not least, this is a Hessian bayonet. I'm sorry, Hessian musket. If you notice, all the bands that they have, all similar to the Charlottesville, with the bayonet to go with it. This is a rifle. Now, the difference between the rifle and the muskets is this is rifled, okay? It had the groove. Everybody seen a football player? The quarterback throws the football, spins around. Well, you had 300 yards. That's the effect of it. But these other muskets, you only had about 75 yards. So that was it. This is a cartridge box. Now, to join Washington's army, you needed two things. You need a cartridge box. This is what it will look like inside of it with the cartridges, okay? And you need a teeth. Why you need teeth? Because you had to take the cartridge and you had to bite the paper so you can prime and load your musket on commands. These are British. These will be used by the dragoons or the cavalry. This is a 1763 model. This is around 1777, 78. These two are French. This is a Charleville, and this is a Saint Antoine pistol. This is what they call a bar shot. This is what they call a chain shot. They will be on ships coming out of the cannons to rip up the riggings or the sails or anybody in his way. You had the little swivel guns. You had a 2 1/4 pounder, and you had a 2 pounder with the little swivel guns they have on board ship. Now, the artillery, they had a 3, 4, 5, 6 pounder. They go by the weight. And that's what you have here. And this is an original mold. Okay, original mold for a 3 pounder. So they will pour the lead into here, pour the other half, squeeze it real tight. Once it cools down, here's your cannonball. And this is what it looked like when you have the two pieces there. You see, if you notice the seam, and this is the inside. This is the inside of it. That's it. This gentleman here, this is his sword, and he can explain a little more detail of each one.
In addition to that, we have children's author Robert Skeed, who is doing a book signing here.
Yeah, hi, my name is Robert Skeed. I'm a local children's author from Wyckoff, and here at the Van Allen House for a special day commemorating the home's history. We're getting ready to celebrate America 250. And the Van Allen home is very special to me because I got the book idea for Patriots, Redcoats, and Spies while I was visiting the Van Allen home years ago with my children. And I went out into the front of the home here and saw the blue marker and the exact date that George Washington was here in 1777. I was here as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. And there's a couple of scenes in the story that take place here at the Van Allen house, particularly this one right here where George Washington is actually standing right there by that window and illustrated here in the story. So love being here whenever they have events.
That's great. Now, what are your other books here, Robert?
So the second one in the series is called Submarine Secrets in a Daring Rescue. This deals with the very first submarine invented for warfare. A lot of people don't know we invented a submarine during the American Revolution. It was called the American Turtle Submarine. It actually worked. It could go underwater for 20 to 30 minutes. So this is an adventure built around that. And book 3 in the series is called Links to Liberty. And this deals with an adventure up at West Point with the Great Chain. And then the newest book is called Dark Treason. It's the Benedict Arnold, John Andre spy thriller story about Benedict Arnold's treason plan to give away the plans to West Point to the British.
That's great. I can do that.
And we also have Jerry and Klaus Angermuller doing candle making in the kitchen, heating the wax in the fireplace and making candles.
Okay, hi, I'm Jerry Angermuller from the Oakland Historical Society, and we're here in the kitchen in the Van Allen house. And we have it set up the way a kitchen would have been like 250, 275 years ago, with the kind of implements that would have been used around that time, the Van Allens. So there's nothing authentic to that period, but these are the type of things. So we have some pewter dishes. People used a lot of pewter, right? It's not toxic, so you can put water in it. We have a pitcher for water and wine. I'm not sure, it's a tin and anyway, it's part tin, so it's nothing. There's no lead involved, as far as I know. Yeah, both, and then wood. Certainly, wood was very popular. You know, Oakland has beautiful trees, so it has nice. They'd sand down the trees, and make slices, and make anything they wanted out of wood. Here's a board that says made from the sun floor of the keeping room. Yeah, the subfloor of the keeping room in 1985. So this was a nice piece of wood here that's still in good shape, and they'd use that for a cutting board and anything you need to put on, have under where you're working. They would be grinding herbs and whatnot. This would be used, you know, you might have your herbs out from the garden and you want to grind them up to make flour for if you're baking bread or whatnot. There's a barrel. There's some more, yeah, wooden pestle and mortar. There'd be a lot of grinding up of grains to make bread and whatnot. You know, they'd have to also things out of the yard. They'd have the straw from the yard and the long grasses to make brooms. They'd be sweeping the dust and sweeping the floor, and they would know how to make brooms. They need fresh brooms all the time. A fresh broom sweeps clean, as they say. You know, got some spice jars, right? After they'd grind them up with a mortar and pestle, they'd put them in a glass jar with a cork in the top. We've got some cinnamon and other rosemary. They also have these jars, which you can keep things in, and then you definitely will keep the mice and the other pests out, because these are very tightly sealed with a rubber ring and the metal across the top. Not quite sure what period that's from, but yeah, so this would be a hutch. And they have also, they make thing out of, would make this out of clay. This is a clay pot. And the different shades of gray, that was very popular. Go down to the Ramapo River and dig up some clay from the ground, and you might have different colored clay. And then the people like to make brown and tan items. So they'd have, that's for storing their food in. You make a porridge, and then you store the leftovers and keep it nice and warm. This is ceramic. This is more recent. This was made in 1978. but it's a memorial dish. So somebody baked this. They have the soldiers, the fife and the drum of the soldiers, keeping people in rhythm. And yeah, so that's a display piece they'd make. Enjoyed for special occasions. It's another wooden bowl. It's ground down. Yeah, so everything was from nature. Here's a clay strainer, right? And they'd make it out of clay and then poke holes in it and bake it that way. So you could, put your vegetables in there and drain them a little bit. And the high chair, for the babies, for feeding the babies. You can have the baby right there at the table with you, and not with this spoon, but the spoon would be for serving soup and one of the ladle here. And the butter churn. So mom could be making some butter churn and have the baby right there. And you'd know the baby wasn't going to get in trouble because he's in his chair there. And then, so this is a big pot, but if you wanted a lot of butter, you'd have to get a lot of cream and whip it up. Yeah, so that's, this is a more modern butter churn. This is from the 1880s. So this was a lot of work. They seem to find this style of it was easier. So it kind of turned on its side and then a crank on the side. And they'd whip up the butter that way. So they wouldn't have to, it was less work. People, kept updating their gadgets and making something easier to work with here. And once they made their butter, they had a butter press. They might make a pattern in the butter. They'd pats of butter, and they'd put the butter down here, and they'd press it and make a nice, pretty pat of butter with a pattern in it. And this, we're showing the kids, this is a well bucket. So like we said, there was no running water back then, but the kids would run out to the running water in the stream, in the brook, or the well, perhaps, and they'd fill their buckets there, and then, it's pretty heavy once you fill it with water. But whoa. Anyway, they put this across the back. I don't have really much room for that right here, and that would help to be able to carry the water in that way. So you don't strain your fingers by holding the heavy bucket. You'd have it across the back. So that's very important for running a household, because you need fresh water all the time. And there'll be fresh water out there. And then for baking, they would like to make muffins, and they had muffin tins. These are heavy ones. I believe these are also pewter. It seems like, they'd be baking bread and rolling out a dough for cookies or a pie crust. So this one turns. It makes it easier. And here's a little butter churn that we use if you just want to make a little bit of whipped cream or butter. This goes a little faster when you use this. So anyway, so we've used that before. It goes pretty fast. Yeah, and more wooden bowls. Yeah, so this is called a dry sink. So you do things in here where you might have some water, but there's no sink to it. There's no drain off of it. So you'd have to keep things in bowls,
My great-grandfather
containers.
was Edward Doty, and his father. and he
The
was born in
vegetable
Oakland.
shredder, right? So you have a lot of cabbage and you want to shred it, make a coleslaw.
His brothers, which go from here all
Yeah.
the way to Ridgewood.
So those are a lot of the gadgets we have. And a fruit crusher. This is called a fruit crusher. Also, the kids like this. You put the fruit in there, turn the handle, and you crush the fruit to make a pie or a jam.
Right down the road from my house.
Yeah, and everything made of wood.
Then there's a colony down in here now.
A blacksmith would help you with the metal pieces.
Further, that's when you would hit Doty Road.
Right. See,
We'll have it all, these items over by the fireplace that you have used for cooking purposes.
Oh yeah, we've got a Dutch fireplace, Dutch style fireplace with the arm that comes out there. And right now we're melting some wax. It's a pot of hot water we've got over the tripod, and we put a tin with wax in it, and we're melting down the wax. And then we have wicking. We're going to dip some candles, or hang it on a stick and dip it into the wax. And also, if they have to make a lot of candles, you can make multiple candles with a gadget like this. You'd have to tie the string across here, and then you just pour the hot wax into it. Wait for it to cool, to harden. And you put it in cold water, and then you could make 6 candles at one time or more. So it would go faster than just dipping one candle at a time.
Can I go to the bathroom?
No, you said you don't have to go and we're not gonna go.
Yeah, and that's let me see. I think that's pewter also. That they would store the candles in the pewter candle holder because the mice like to eat candles. So you have to protect everything from critters and mice. Oh, that's going out. And you know what? I have to do something about this fire here. So I'll show you. We've got a lot of gadgets here. This helps with making a fire. Right? You want to the bellows get the fire going better here. We can get a little air blown in there to make it burn better.
And these are still there.
And then we have, a spatula. And this is a Betty lamp. So they would put fat or wax in here and put a string in it. The string would just hang out and they could light that. And this was a little light that you could carry around with you, a little burning. So, it takes a while to make candles. So this you just use, I guess, oil or wax with a string in it. And if you just needed a real fast light to go outside probably, and when it was dark out, you want to have that. So this is called a Betty lamp. So we have those here also. And some teapots and coffee pots to heat the water. And some more candles. A candle holder. This one has the, does this work? See, as the candle burns down, you might want to push it up. So this seems to be stuck right now, but you can change the length of the candle if you want it higher or lower. That was handy. And we've used this, you would put a piece of fish on it and tie the fish on it and put it by the side of the fire, and that's the way you would roast a slab of fish or a slab of meat. So, and the juices would run down here. So make it nice and juicy. Yeah, I think that's most of what we have. This would be to keep bread warm. You could keep something warm in there that's not directly over the fire. But the bricks are nice and warm. So, yeah, if you want to keep something warm in there, there's an extra hole in the fireplace to keep that warm. Sorry. You've got the brazier. If you want to. The brazier, they might get some coals, heat up some wood and put some coals in, and then they would take this to church with them and put it in the pew, have a little enclosed pew, and then they could keep their feet warm on a cold winter day. On a cold winter day, they'd take the hot braziers, know how to transport them without burning themselves. Yeah, and that's the way you'd take your heat with you. And this is for making toast. You could put some slices of bread in here. Put it by the fire and toast some slices of bread. They even made toast back then. Here, this is a toaster made of cast iron. All kinds of gadgets they like to use. What are you looking for?
Some sort of, you're looking for some sort of ground.
Mm-hmm.
Get the jars and the wick in the bottom. Tie it off the top. On the fireplace.
Let's get a fireplace.
We have to get a fireplace, yes.
I don't think the gas stove is on.
All right. So now we're going to do this for hours on end.
No, this one was.
It seemed very tedious.
Once it's soaked, yeah, it's
Yes.
a long job. Yeah, that's why they made these too, because it goes faster.
You just pour it in and wait till it hardens.
So what he would have is like a whole bunch of those. And he would dip that one and set it on the side, let it cool, dip the next one, dip the next one, dip the next one, and then you go back to the beginning. And you just keep doing them.
Yep.
As they would as they fill up and as they cool.
But you could have a different container, a lengthy container, so you have more strings instead of just the two here. So, you know, there are ways of what I would like to do though is
Yeah, it's good. It's got wax soaked into it now. It seems like it's getting a little stiff.
yes,
What would you like?
this. And since we had this here,
Yeah, here, you can, if it's hot, here you go.
it's a little hotter than comfortable.
Yeah.
This is who you go.
The wax on the
You
table,
go
you
for
use the
salad
wax the table.
That's great, because they got enough.
So this is
Oh, yeah, that one's old, that's 1910.
the big deal. Now let's see. The side. Whoops.
We got candles.
How long would it take to set the candles?
Depends on how cold it is. Yeah, right.
Yes, well,
Right,
like,
yeah.
yeah, we just put it outside and that's
Uh-oh,
it.
uh-oh, that one's leaking.
just let it be.
Faster, did it leak?
There's nothing we can do.
And so these two are maintaining it. I don't know.
Okay, so well,
We got 3 out of 6.
Good day. I'm Judy Hughes Gray from the Oakland Historical Society, and this is our sewing room, things that making yarn. It's back into history and very authentic. Let's start off with with what we do. This was sheared from sheep. Sheep they were really here when we had the shearing of the sheeps. Okay, there's a whole process after that. This is called carding. The carding of to get the little animals and critters that are in there, making long stringing more. You have the next process is to spin it, okay, which is it's more easier than it is, but it's difficult to spin, and then the yarn comes out. There's some of the finished yarn on the looms, different kinds of looms. That's a hand loom. This is a replica of, might be on the property. Okay, here's another loom over here for that. A lot of good things in this room, huh? Those would make shawls such as this. Beautiful shawl. This was made by Marion Potash, who was a part of the society a while ago, and she left that for us. That's her shawl. But women could be doing 2 things at once. Here's a mom, and a little bit frightening, this mom, and as the baby is sleeping, her foot is rocking that, and she might be doing some yarn work too while the baby is rocked and slept. So. Okay. Those long ones, you stand up to do that, to make the yarn. They're called, I think, walking yarns, walking spindles. No.
And this was very common to do in that time period for
You had to
all
do
type
it.
of clothing. And
Oh yeah.
Van Finn is also here. He put up a nice flag collection, which you can see here. And pretty much all of our members are here trying to greet guests and talking with people. Well, in April, the Northwest Bergen County History Coalition, which is just a association of different museums in the Northwest Bergen area, is having their History Day on Saturday, April 25th. And it's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., so a little bit of a longer day. And if you buy a ticket, I believe they're $10, and you can buy them at any of the sites. You have access to 12 sites. It's pretty difficult to see all of them in one day, but you can drive around and really get the lay of the land. So these would be houses such as the old stone house in Ramsey, the Hermitage, several sites in Waldwick, Wyckoff, and the Mawa Museum. So all of these are really great places, and it's just a nice day for everybody.
And what is the Van Allen House doing for this event?
We're probably just going to have a exhibition of various artifacts in our collection, and Paul Dahl is planning to bring more of his Revolutionary War artifacts as well. So since it's a long day, we're just going to keep it simple. But that's basically the theme is America 250.
Freeze it! Fire!
Oakland TV is made possible by the generous support of our sponsors. Chopper Russo, Team Remax Select, Oakland's top team since 2013. The J. Moore Connection Incorporated, reliable professional IT services and solutions for your home and business for over 3 decades. The J. Moore Connection Incorporated, jmore.com. Mark Albala, Ryan Swartfager, proud Oakland resident since 1998, has been a proud member of the Oakland Communications Commission and its chairman since 2018. Thank you to the volunteers who make all of our programming possible, bringing transparency, entertainment, and information to the citizens of Oakland. William Sisti, The Rampo Valley Knights of Columbus Council 5846 was founded in 1966 in our current home of Oakland, New Jersey. Through the years, the council has worked closely with the parish and our community to provide funds for various charitable projects. Tired of spending hours planning your vacation only to end up with a trip that feels ordinary? What if your dream adventure was just one click away? At Roving Adventures Dream Vacations, we believe your precious time off should be spent making memories. We specialize in crafting extraordinary journeys. Whether you're dreaming of a majestic cruise, an exhilarating safari, a challenging hike, or a deep dive into a new culture, we handle every single detail. RovingAdventures.com. And with support from viewers like you, thank you.